Tiiu is a founding member of the We Empower You community, and she was there in the beginning, and she's still here to this very day. So with me here today is Tiiu Napp, a survivor of domestic violence, an international author, professional speaker, transformational coach, award-winning photographer, entrepreneur, and non-denominational minister. Her greatest achievement has been her spiritual growth. Tiiu is committed her life to helping others embark on their own quests of self-discovery. She has been called a victim, a survivor, a thriver, and an inspiration to others. Healing the Holes in Your Soul is her first book. Today, Tiiu continues to spread the message of how listening to your inner voice will help you to find your self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem. Her topic is her topic is Freedom Begins Within. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you so much. What a thrill to be on the main stage. Thank you, Bettina. You honor me. You really, truly do. I do have a PowerPoint, and if it's all right, I'd like to share it. And let's just see if I can pop it up really quick. It's right here. I'm blown away that I'm right here.
While Tiiu is figuring this out, I just wanted to say that her TV show Spotlight was amazing. There we go.
Thank you. It took me a minute, but I'm here. Thank you so much, Lee, because I have to also let you know that I have had nothing but positive feedback regarding the cover, which you inspired me to put on my book. I'm so thrilled that you suggested that. And it really means a lot to me because the pink rose is actually the symbol of love. And pink is the color of love, and we always give roses, but that's part of my presentation, so I'll get to that in a minute. But here's the thing. When I first met Lee and Bettina, I was still incredibly shy, and I had been incredibly shy my entire life. And it took me a long, long time to understand why I was the one that was always hiding in the back of the room. And Mary West can relate to this, and so can Karen Matt.
Tiiu, your sound isn't working.
Okay. We have technical issues. I'm a dinosaur with technology. I come from the dark ages. Okay, so let me try again. I need to ask a question. Have any of you ever felt any kind of abuse? And I'm talking about, subtle innuendos, insults, maybe a negative comment. I mean, I'm sure we all have in our life. We've all made mistakes. We've all heard something. And what I'm getting to is that there's many, many types of abuse. And it's not just domestic violence. We can even be abused in financial aspect. But here's the thing. This is a bit of my story, but I want you to remember some of the things that have happened in your life, because we're going to revisit that at the end of this. For me, I'm the firstborn generation Canadian of Estonian parents. My mom and dad were born and raised in Estonia. And during World War II, they fled. They met in Sweden and they ended up in Canada. Now, the reason I share that is because they taught me some really, really important core values. And I did not realize these core values at the beginning until much later in my life. But my father raised us all. I have two sisters, and he raised us to be good wives. He didn't raise us to be good, independent thinking women. He raised us to be good wives. It was our job to stay home, take care of the family, the house. And that was the way it was back in the day in Estonia when they were growing up. My mom was the city girl. My dad was the farm boy. But when I came into the world, it was the 1950s. And in 1960, when I was that impressionable teenager, women were fighting for equal rights. Women were burning bras. There was all kinds of race riots. Vietnam was going on, and there was a lot of chaos in the world. And so what I didn't realize was that I couldn't quite blend what was going on in my life with what was going on in the world. So eventually what happened was at the age of 18, I left home. I just said, that's it. I'm going to Malibu, feeling 10 feet tall and bulletproof, because I had had a lot of disagreements with my parents. And when I did that, what I didn't realize was that that's actually a risky thing to do. When you when you turn around and you're 18 years old and you only take 3 changes of clothes and a little bit of money in your pocket and you're going out to conquer the world, there's a lot of things I didn't plan. And one of the things I didn't plan, fortunately, I had met this guy who decided to be my bodyguard. And we went off to Malibu together, but we never really got there. And I know what it feels like to be looking at the barrel of a loaded gun. It wasn't, I highly don't recommend it because I ended up a statistic. And without going into a whole lot of detail regarding the abuse, that was just one part. I thought he would look after me, but what I realized was that he had PTSD, and a lot of guys that came back from any war have got that. And I tried to help him and fix him. And all I realized was that the violence that came out of it just led me to this really perpetual world of abuse. It lasted a long, long time. And so for me, I had to protect my children because with the guy, I married him. We had 2 children, and there was a scene where a section of my life where I was hiding my children in a closet so that they wouldn't hear what was going on in the other room between their father and their mother. And that is one of the video clips that I actually mentioned. I mentioned that in the video that I did with Larry Domenico. And it's part of the benefits that we get from We Empower You. On top of that, but going back to my story, what happened was that there were many, many, many events in my life, a lot of different violent events. And it went on for like 14 years until the one part where I decided that's it. You know, this can't keep going on. But it wasn't until July the 4th, 1986, when I really had that big aha awakening, you could say. In 1986, I was at a 4th of July party with my friends, and my ex-husband, of course, had too much to drink. And the children were upstairs playing with their friends up in a bedroom. And he got upset. I won't go into why, but the next thing you know, my head was being slammed against the inside window, the passenger window of our pickup truck. And I looked up and I saw my children looking out the window. And in that moment in time, something snapped in my head, and it was the fighter coming out in me. And I thought, that's it. I am no longer living this way. That was the warrior, you know, the side of our soul that we don't even realize sometimes that we have. And I started fighting back. But fighting back was really a different level of survival because there were a lot of things that I didn't realize. But fighting back was step one. And then the thing, I had a plan. I needed to get rid of him. Right? How desperate is a person when they finally say, that's it. I'm getting rid of my ex-husband, the father of my children, and I started carrying a can of gas in the trunk of my car. I lived in a mobile home, and that mobile home, I did research, would have gone up in smoke in less than 10 minutes. And I thought, clearly, I'll just wait until he's drunk one night, passed out on the bed. I'll load the kids up in the car, hide them under the blanket, and I'll take care of my house. And I'll drive away and start a new life without him, and no more of this abuse and no more grief. That's how close I came to actually doing something I'm so very, very grateful I didn't do. Because it turned out that through all those things, the one thing that kept guiding me forward was the voice inside. And my mother told me this a long time ago. My mother said, there are 4 things in life I want you to always remember. What goes around comes around, and that's karma. The other thing she taught me was treat people like you want to be treated. Leave the world, number 3, leave the world a better place than it was when you came here. And always, always listen to your inner voice, for in it, your higher power speaks to you. And I thought, all my life, through all that abuse, the one thing that kept coming through when I had nothing left to give was I'd be on the floor. I would hear, get up, get back up. This is not your destiny. And I knew then with that gas can in my hand, that's how close I came to setting my house on fire. That's not my destiny either. So that man is very, very fortunate to still be alive. And I'm very, very fortunate that I didn't torch the house that I lived in for a lot longer after I got him out of the house. There was a divorce. Yeah, there was a divorce. And that was ugly in itself. But here's the thing. When I finally got divorced, I was incredibly shy, incredibly insecure. And I lived in a prison of limited beliefs and fear. And here is where I started learning and growing and realizing that, you know what? Where are my sides? We can take our past, okay? We can take our past and we can take it and we can look at it and we can hold on to our past, and it can destroy us like this barn is being destroyed just in time. Or we can take the pieces of our past that we choose to hold on to that bring us value, and we can move forward. This barn has now been torn down, but the boards on the barn are now being rebuilt into a brand new house. And that's exactly how I look at life today. It isn't where we come from, it's where we're going and what we choose to bring forward with us. For me, I choose to bring forward only the good things, the blessings, because I thank everybody who ever hurt me. Oops, wrong way. I thank everybody who ever hurt me, but I also thank everybody who taught me about love. Because everybody who ever hurt me taught me some valuable lessons. And the valuable lessons are that you don't need to hold on to the past. You learn from it, you release it, you grow, and you move forward. Pink is the color of love. That's why there's a pink rose on my book. And love is where the healing begins. I know for a fact that there are only two energies in the world, the energy of love and all that is not love. And I learned that from an amazing man. But before I tell you who he is, I want to go ahead and thank Mary West and Patrick Snow, because I was writing a book about my mom and dad and their journey, their love story from the war-torn Estonia into Canada. And Patrick told me when I was sharing with him some of the experiences I had as I traveled to Estonia and Sweden, that I needed to call Michael Gross, Dr. Michael Gross. He's the author of the Spiritual Primer. And what happened was once again, I listened to the thoughts of my soul and I called him. And when I called him, amazing things happened. I met him in Gig Harbor, which is about a half an hour from here. I live in Washington State. And I met him and I bought his book. We sat there and we talked. And one of the most amazing things was I asked him at one point, tell me, please, what's the difference between religion and spirituality? And I'm clutching his book like this across my chest. And he said, religion sets a moral code. I'm a girl who was raised in a church. I'm a girl who was raised in a church from the time I was tiny. And when he said spirituality is one step beyond religion. It's your life experiences that cannot be explained by logic and reason. And in that moment, my whole inside started to explode. There was it was like the 4th of July on my insides. And the 4th of July was exploding with white and beautiful gold and silver and pink. And what I realized was I was watching video clips in my head of all those life experiences that logic could not explain. So I thought, okay, he had the key to the most amazing journey of my life, because I had no idea that that was the missing piece. I've been missing that piece for a very long time in my life. And what I realized was that your passion heals your soul. Okay? My passion in my heart and soul has always been photography from the time I was 8 years old and my grandmother gave me a Brownie camera. When I realized that I no longer needed to use my camera as a shield, I started using it as a tool. It's now like my canvas and my lens, and what you see before me and the other images here are places where my soul has led me to go. I had no logic and reason to go where I went, but I went. And this is one of the things I've seen. You find your passion. When you find what what really makes your heart sing, what makes you want to get up and dance in the rain. That's your passion. That's the one thing that fuels your soul. It heals your soul. It brings love and joy into your life. And this is one of those things that I was blessed with, okay? It goes on though. When you also challenge yourself with the things that we all have a gift. We all have a gift. We have been blessed with gifts from the time we were born. They come tightly wrapped in our soul. It's up to us to find out what those gifts are, what our passion is. And oh my gosh, when we listen to those little thoughts, it's an amazing experience. But here's one thing that happens that I've also realized. Oops, hang on. We don't always get to hear our soul because our world is crazy. It's loud. It's busy. It's like a roaring train coming down the tracks. You don't always hear what's going on around within you because what's going on around you is so loud and busy. And when that happens, all of a sudden we get caught up in that whole jet stream, you could say. Let me tell you, when that train went by me, it went not only by me, it went through me. It was the craziest feeling, and it took maybe 6 seconds to go by me. But because I listened to my inner voice and didn't go up on the top of the hill, but down by the track, I was able to get that picture. So always, always follow your inner voice. You don't know where it's going to lead you. And oh my goodness, where it can lead you can be the most amazing experience you've ever had. The whole time I shot this one, I was going, oh my gosh, the sky just kept getting red and more brilliant. And to be honest, I went down to that pier to take a picture of a ferry. I have ferry pictures, but the train came by. What a gift, right? We have blessings that we don't even realize we have. So on that note, I'll keep moving because there's only a couple more here that I want to share with you. We need to change our perspective. This is one of my favorite quotes. What you think you create, what you create, you experience. It's one by Dr. Michael Gross. I had been manifesting. I have photographer friends that have been sharing otter pictures. And all of a sudden, I'm out there thinking I'm taking a picture of a full moon because it was that night of the full moon. And I turn around and right beside me is this little guy eating his dinner. What an amazing experience that happens when you get out of your own way. So change your perspective, listen to your inner voice. If you have to go into a quiet place to meditate, do it because by gosh, it's well worth it. So on that note, we all have gifts. We all truly have gifts. Find out what yours are because you might surprise yourself. This eagle is one of the last images I'm going to show you. It came with a message, and I watched it fly across the water, make a sharp right-hand turn, and fly right toward me. I had just met another friend on the beach that day, and he told me this. He's a Native American, and he told me that this eagle carries a message. And the eagle I saw, I looked into the eye of this eagle, and this eagle had a message just for me. It was that I'm protected, and I knew. I've lost my mom and dad. They've been gone a while. But this eagle came with a message from beyond anything I've ever experienced. And what this young man told me was, it's a message from your elders that you are protected. What a beautiful gift right before I went in for surgery. What an absolutely beautiful gift to know that there is a love that's so powerful that it's not just on this planet. It's beyond any realm. I mean, there are no limits to love. So once again, and we've heard this throughout many different people speaking today, that love is the most powerful energy on the planet there is. When we always live with love and give without any expectations, you give of yourself. And like we've all said here today too, it's what you give, the relationship that you build. It's not a sales thing. What it is how can I help you today? How can I show you your value and who you really are? I'm here to help people on their journey of self-discovery. Remember your thoughts about abuse. Okay, at the beginning when I spoke, remember what you were thinking when I was talking about how we've all been abused. Okay, you don't need to share, but I know you can all relate. And if someone had said at that time, just think of this, how would you feel if someone had given you a loving gesture, a kind word? All those terrible feelings would have gone away, because nothing negative can live in the energy of love. So I have just a couple quotes, okay? Just a couple quotes. This one's from Buddha. There are three things that matter the most. How, I have to check this out. In the end, only three things matter most: how deeply you loved, how gently you lived, and how gracefully you let go of the things that were not meant for you. That's by Buddha. And the other one is, love is the only energy that can never be extinguished. It can only be set aside. And when we get caught up in this very, very busy world that we all live in today, what happens is we do set aside that time to love one another. And right now, especially right now, with all the chaos going on in the world, whether it's a pandemic or what's going on over in the Ukraine, we need to make sure that we're doing our part to raise the energy of love on the planet, because that's the one thing that's going to be able to finally bring some balance and harmony back into our life. On that note, I'm really, really grateful that everybody came and that I have the honor of being in this breakout room. Thank you so much, Bettina. Thank you,
so much.
everybody.